Football is known to be one of the most vigorous, violent, and dangerous sports on the face of the earth. From highlight reel hits to bone-crushing injuries, it is one of the most electrifying and entertaining sports to watch. We see it as entertainment, but the reality behind it is that this sport has been destroying their lives and the quality of it throughout their retirement. It all started with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 1970s. The way they played the game with such a reckless, hard-mouthed attitude changed the way many people looked at them. They were given the nickname of the Steel Curtain for how they played on the defensive side of the ball. This team had the energy, they had the tradition, and most importantly, they had the Super Bowls to prove it. They were led by number 52, Iron Mike Webster. Mike played 17 years for the Steelers at the center position and was as tough as they come. Never wearing an undershirt, even in the frigid weather, he went head-to-head with anything and everyone that confronted him. Although this was the case throughout his career, retirement provided challenges not even Iron Mike could endure. Webster was diagnosed with dementia and depression and passed away at the young age of just 50. This is when many people started to ask questions such as, why did this big athletic guy go crazy and die? While many people thought there had to be something else behind this unexpected death. The task to solve this problem fell in the lap of Dr. Bennett Omalu. Dr. Omalu is a neuropathologist from Nigeria who happened to be working at a coroner's office in Pittsburgh to perform autopsies. He was given the task of performing an autopsy on Mike Webster because his wife questioned the real reason of his death. Through his autopsy, Omalu made many shocking discoveries.
Mike looked older than his age. He looked beat up. He looked worn out. He looked drained. I was expecting to see a brain with Alzheimer's disease features. So a shriveled, ugly-looking brain. But upon opening his skull, Mike's brain looked normal.
Although his brain looked normal, he had suffered from CTE. This disease affects many players after their career, but Mike is patient zero. In his retirement, this disease affected his way of life and the little things, such as participating in interviews.
No, I'm talking about... No, I'm just trying to find... Yeah, well, trauma, everybody went through trauma as a kid. I'm not saying I was different than that. I'm just saying... the things we do to one another, okay? Hell, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just tired and confused right now. That's why I say I can't really, I can't say it the way I want to say it. I could say I could answer this real easy at other times, but right now I'm just tired.
After Dr. Omalu's discovery of CTE in patient zero, Mike Webster, he wanted to help the NFL, so he published his findings. The Mild Traumatic Brain Injury Committee, led by NFL head Dr. Ira Kaysen, looked over his findings and retracted all the research he had done. Dr. Ira Kaysen believed that the NFL players couldn't get CTE and that all his findings were fraud. He believed he didn't have the evidence due to the lack of brains he had examined. He had everybody believe that CTE was a hoax and NFL players were perfectly safe. The year after these findings, the NFL gave their players a pamphlet that said concussions would not lead to permanent damage if managed properly. Obviously, this is not the case, but Roger Goodell and Ira Kaysen wanted everyone to believe it. They wanted full control of the situation, but that was too far-fetched. They hired Ann McKee to study brains at Boston College and gave her $1 million to start. She tested many brains from the NFL's brain bank and made many more discoveries of the severity and the confusion behind the disease. At this point, people were starting to first hear about CTE and what happens to those with it. Many NFL players began to worry and wonder about the quality of their lives. This is when the lawsuits started pouring in on the NFL and a ton of money was on the line. They continued to deny this research, and the NFL and Roger Goodell were going to have to answer for it. They had to appear in front of Congress and settle the debate because of their clear willingness to deny any wrongdoing. Linda Sanchez, made a very accurate analogy.
Of the tobacco companies pre-90s, when they kept saying, no, there's no link between smoking and damage to your health or ill health effects.
Even after the debate, they continued to deny any wrongdoing they had done, giving Ira Cassman the nickname the No Doctor.
Is there any evidence as of today that links multiple head injuries with any long-term problem like that?
In NFL players?
Yeah.
No.
This was when Goodell realized he needed to make changes, and fast, or he was going down with them. He started by parting ways with Ira Cassman and hiring 2 new neuropathologists that could really make a change. He then began implementing rule changes that would positively affect the number of concussions we see each year. This was all positive by Goodell, but that was just because he got caught denying it, and it was time to cover it up. They ended up in a lawsuit with 4,500 players and had to pay the piper. They settled for $765 million on behalf of injury compensation and new medical tests. These players got the money they deserve, but it doesn't take away the pain and the struggles many of them faced or are facing today.
I think everyone now has a better sense of what damage you can get from playing football. And I think the NFL has given everybody 765 million reasons why you don't want to play football.
As for now, no one knows what the future holds for football. May it be structural changes to the game or no game at all. Only time will tell. But if we can spread awareness and see change through Pee Wee sports, then we can turn an eye from the people at the top.